Ever since I was young, I have dreamed of having abs. And after thousands of failed attempts, I was starting to think that it wasn't going to happen. But no matter how much I failed, I still craved it like a drug. But after losing and regaining the weight numerous times, here's what actually worked for me as an obese guy in his 20s. First thing is first, abs are not made in the kitchen. Kind of. Well, you see, to see our abs, we need to be in a calorie deficit, but we do not just want abs. We actually want defined abs. And to get that, we need to be in the gym. So before we go any further with this process, do not think either or. Our diet and our exercise work collaboratively to get us the desired result. Listen, man, I made this mistake. I would spend an hour doing ab exercises, leg raises, the ab crunches, you name it, I did it. And guess what? I got no abs. So instead, I started to focus on my diet. But then I just got a flat stomach, which was an improvement from where I was, but it's not really what I wanted. And eventually, I just took this way too far. And I went from looking somewhat healthy to sick. But you see, I thought all hope was lost until I actually combined the two methods. And then I got my desired result. So if you do happen to be somebody that was in my position a couple years back, this is exactly what I did. Now, the first thing we need to do is lower your body fat percentage, because here's the thing, right? All of us have abs, but whether you can see those abs or not is a completely different story, because you can do all of the ab exercises in the world, but if your body fat percentage is too high, you are not going to see those abs. So to reduce that body fat, we need to be in a calorie deficit, which means we just need to eat less than we are burning. And this is important because the more time that you spend in a calorie deficit, you are going to have less fat, which means that your abs are going to be more visible. So hang on a minute. What is the best way to get into a calorie deficit? Well, I always preach this. We want to keep our activity as high as possible while creating a small calorie deficit. This is going to help you lose more weight, because we're going to have more fuel to use in our workout sessions, and keeping our food high is going to mean that we are not going to feel like we are suffering or starving on our weight loss journey. A good place to start would be to put yourself in a 250 calorie deficit with the food, average around 8 to 10,000 steps every single day, and have 2 cardio sessions that are around 30 minutes long. But there is a huge disclaimer with what I have just said, because no matter what method you use, whether it's the one that I just suggested to you a minute ago, or whether it's another one that you find yourself, you need to understand that it is going to be difficult, and this is going to test you in ways that you've never been tested before. So find what works for you and just accept that this is going to get tough. This is going to get difficult. And if you do want 2 weeks of free help, that is going to make the whole process of getting abs a whole lot easier. You can hit the link in the pinned comment. There's going to be some really valuable information that you can find in there. Now, if you're a person who wants your abs to pop, then there is one fundamental ingredient that we need to make that happen, and that is going to be going to the gym. But before we do move on to that, I mentioned that we needed to be in a calorie deficit with our food. So I'm going to quickly share the easiest way that you can do that, and it's so easy you can literally do it right after watching this video. Are you ready? Because they're going to be quick. If you're drinking sodas, you're going to want to swap to the diet version. We want to swap to lower calorie condiments, so like ketchup, barbecue sauce, get the reduced sugar version. We can try intermittent fasting. We can replace our everyday items, ingredients, and snacks with their lower calorie alternatives. And a veteran hack that's as old as time, we're going to stock up on fruits and vegetables and make sure that they're ones that you actually like eating. Otherwise, you're just not going to eat it. So now that you know the basics of dieting, we're now going to move on to what really makes your abs pop. And spoiler alert, it's not what you think. But believe it or not, I only trained my abs 1 day per week, and that was after my leg day. All I did was the machine ab crunch machine and sit-ups, and I progressed with weights and the reps where necessary. But there was one sneaky culprit that led to me getting abs that popped, and it is something that I did without realizing it, and that was indirect ab training. This is where you target your abs and your core with all of the other workouts that you're doing. I've been going to the gym for many years now, and through all of those years and through all of that movement, my core was getting worked. And also my martial arts background in Muay Thai and MMA definitely helped me out a bunch. However, there's a caveat to this, because I would not recommend you solely rely on indirect ab training, because number one, it's hard to track, and number two, it's hard to progress on because you're not really focusing on it. You're focusing on the exercise that you're doing in that moment. The best way to work your abs is the way you would work any other muscle, like your biceps or your triceps or your chest or your back. But I did just want to share that point because I think it would be unfair for me not to mention it, because I think it definitely attributed to some of the growth and the development that I have seen in my abs. Again, I do not know everything. I'm not an expert. I'm just reporting to you what I've experienced and what's what. But here's the best part, because if you follow all of these steps, you will get the abs that you've dreamed of the same way that I did. But if you are somebody who ate a little bit too much on vacation and you need to get rid of that weight quickly, then I would watch the video on screen.